Perhaps the primary distinction of the artist is that they must actively cultivate that state which most of us necessarily must avoid, the state of being alone. That all people are alone is a banality. A banality because it is very frequently stated, but very rarely believed. Most of us are not compelled to linger on the knowledge of our aloneness, for it is a knowledge that can paralyze all action in this world. There are swamps to be drained, cities to be created, mines to be exploited, children to be fed. None of these things can be done alone. But the conquest of the physical world is not a person's only duty. They are also enjoined to conquer the great wilderness of themselves. The precise role of the artist, then, is to illuminate that darkness so that we will not, in all our doing, lose sight of its primary purpose, which is to make the world a more human dwelling place. The aloneness of which I speak is like the aloneness of birth or death. It is like the fearless alone that one sees in the eyes of one who is suffering. Or it is like the aloneness of love. The state of birth, suffering, love, and death are extreme states and inescapable. We all know this, but we would rather not know it. The artist is present to correct the delusions that we fall prey, in which we fall prey, in order to avoid this knowledge. The artist is distinguished from all other responsible actors in society, the politicians, legislators, educators, and scientists, by the fact that they are their own laboratory and cannot allow any consideration to supersede their responsibility to reveal the mystery of the human being. Society must accept some things as real, but they must also know that visible reality hides a deeper truth. And that all our actions and achievements rest on things unseen. A society must assume that it is stable. But the artist must know, and they must let us know, that there is nothing stable under heaven. The artist cannot and must not take anything for granted, but must drive to the heart of every answer to expose the question that the answer hides. It is for this reason that all societies have battled against that incorrigible disturber of the peace, the artist. The dangers of being an artist here are not greater than those of being an artist anywhere else in the world, but they are very particular. These dangers are produced by our history. They rest on the fact that in order to conquer this continent, the particular aloneness of which I speak, the aloneness in which one discovers that life is tragic and therefore unutterably beautiful, could not be permitted. This continent is now conquered, but our habits and our fears remain. And in the same way that to become a social human being, one must modify and suppress and ultimately lie to oneself about all of one's interior, so have we as a nation modified or suppressed and lied about the darker forces of our history. We know in the case of the person that whoever cannot tell themselves the truth about their past is immobilized in the prison of their undiscovered self. This is also true of nations. We know how a person in such a paralysis is unable to assess either their weaknesses or their strengths, and how frequently indeed they mistake the one for the other. And this, I think, we do. Societies never know it, but the war of an artist with their society is a lover's war. And they do, at their best, what lovers do, which is to reveal the beloved to themselves, and with that revelation, to make freedom real.